Dungeon Meshi 2. Thank you to, I guess, everybody kind of tuned in last episode and enjoyed it for what it was. Although, you know, me not absolutely loving the episode itself, the majority of you still seem to give a pretty positive reception for the most part of it, and seem to have enjoyed the reaction overall and everything. So I really do kind of appreciate that. Also, thanks to the some of you that clarified some things a little bit and provided a little bit more context or things for me to kind of look at it in different ways or understand a little bit about questions and things that I had after the first one. So thank you. Moving forward, we still got girl trapped inside of dragon, and I'm assuming at this point nobody actually said this, but I'd be under the assumption based on like stuff that I regathered through rewatching and stuff, that she's basically like dead at this point, and we use things of resurrection and these sort of things to kind of revive people. Marcel talking about specifically last week with her being like, I, you know, have been dead once before or whatever. This is how I died before. So I'm assuming this is like a very natural and common thing, hence the reason why they're so laid back about it in these situations, because it isn't that big of a concern for them to actually have to rush and actively get to this, which allows them to kind of sit and be a little bit more laid back and enjoy their adventure and their journey for what it kind of is, and Laios to be able to enjoy his time and you know, cook up all the delicious things that he can kind of find within the dungeons, and actually enjoy that. And I'm assuming that's kind of, for the most part, of everything that was basically being set up. I'm expecting more of the same, if I'm being honest. Maybe we'll be able to find our way and actually meet up with this dragon this episode, but for whatever reason, I feel like that journey still ways away and it won't actually happen here. But who knows? We might just delve further into the caves itself and actually find something for us to cook up, and that's kind of just going to be the journey that we go along throughout. This would be the assumption. Each episode is going to kind of be focused on discovering new things and new ways to kind of prepare them and eat them and kind of satisfy Laios's kind of fascination with this, I guess. If you like it all, the like and subscribe to me lots. Make feel free to stick around for the discussion. Leave a comment for this episode or series. Let's go on with episode 2. Oh. Time to eat up. I cooked up your favorite delicious monsters. Of course. No, she's having nightmares. I wonder if it's an actual memory. Definitely not. She wouldn't be so against it. Yes, the monsters we cooked though. Nothing's changed. Oh, never mind. That was good. That could be us. Lots of work to do on your part. Let's get our own pork. The problem is they're not going to be the normal eggs. Yeah. They'll be giant ass birds. Oh. It's not the same. It's partial snake, but it's the same. You get too much, you get nothing special out of it, you know? He understands. Those eggs look like jelly beans. Ew. I hated the noise. You're just taking its fucking kids. It's a terrifying creature. It's not mixed all too well that it looks like weird. They just look normal, but it's 2 in 1. Watch her get beat up by the chicken. Make yourself look as big as possible. Take ball that I was. Perfect. That's actually really sick. Well done, boys. Now we get chicken. What do they use the snake for, I wonder? It'd take fucking forever to get all the feathers off. Peel up the chicken. Put it on the axe, right? Beautiful. The cure is to eat. Wow. Wonderful. Brings tears to our eyes. Look at it. Massive fucking chicken leg. Well, it was a chicken. Cast it with the chicken. Yeah, we do this all the time. Nothing. 3 months?
毎回同じとこで全滅してばかりで。どうしたらライオスさんたちみたいに魔物を料理できるくらい強くなれるんでしょうか。それは。
You gotta eat them. Yeah. I love Senshin's energy. He's so necessary.
一度目覚めて狩りを行うらしい。先日出会ったのはちょうどその時期だったのだろう。じゃあ今は満腹になって寝てるわけだ。ぜひ彼が再び空腹になる前に探し出したい。
Will he wake up if we attack him though? Or is he just like stuck in a constant state of sleep? This girl's a mess. Or with her.
無理するな。少し休憩していこう。
We're not really in a rush.
今そうやって虚勢張って体でも壊されたら余計に足手まといになるっつってんの。
That's very true.
いや、必要ない。
We don't need you.
を使うのは罠は多いが魔物は少ない。
私が罠解除の魔法。
シルチャックに解除してもらう方が早いから。
魔物が。
She's like, why the fuck am I here?
レイクの取り方なら知ってる。私に任せて。マンドレイクは魔術や薬学の基本。つまり私の専門分野。
You can't tell me I'm useless now.
紐とよくしつけられた犬を用意します。犬？犬の首輪とマンドレイクを。
Where are we gonna find those?
距離を取って犬を呼び寄せる。すると犬に引っ張られてマンドレイクが抜ける。
犬はどうなるんだ？
死ぬ。
ひど。じゃなくてその犬はどっから連れてくるんだ？そもそもそのやり方効率は。
We'll just use you and your staff and we'll tie it around it.
紐を使ってはダメなのか？叫び声が聞こえない距離まで。
Or we could just do that, yeah.
これなら犬を使わずに済む。
Oh, this is her area, and as she reads it from the book. Or we could just pull it. Sure.
実践したことあるのか？
ない。だって犬かわいそうだし。
ともかく今は犬もいないし時間もない。
悪いが戦士のやり方に習うとするよ。
このやり方に利があると証明する。
Yeah, the complete opposite of this.
犬は使えないから。魔物。
Well, he's a chicken.
この辺りにいる魔物といえばオオコウモリ。今ならすで眠ってるはず。
It's me whenever I have to walk upstairs. I'm a mess. Come on. Oh, that's a lot. Eyes. Well, it did what you want, but at the same time.
本当に実践は重要だ。
Ugh.
少なくともオオコウモリを犬の代用にしてはいけない理由が分かった。
お、生きてる。
I love the air twitch
犬
there.
の代わりにオオコウモリを使って。 ってバカだな。
Where's the praise you wanted?
聞こえるか？
はい、私は大変健康です。
いやダメだろ。
悲鳴を
Look in the
聞い
wrong
たな。
ways.
話しかけ続けよう。だんだんはっきりしてくるはずだ。なぜこんなことを？
足手まといと言われたことに焦りを感じ、
ごめん。
こいつらを見返し土下座させ
I
たいと
love
思い
how
行
she's
動しました。
なんだこいつ。
チルチャック。
皆さんのために何も。
Yeah, she just wants to be useful. You guys kept putting her down.
迷宮は深くなるほど魔物が強くなる。一番頼りになるのが君の魔法だ。だからこんな浅い階層で疲れさせてしまう。
I'm sure. Bro, it's just... Oh
人
my
には得て
god.
増えてがある。
Yours just are very limited.
は他のものが解決する。もっと頼ってくれていいん
Why
だ
are
よ。
they drawing her like that?
ほら、チルチャックも。
に助かったと思ってるよ。
Give an example. Don't just say that. Give us an example of how.
もっと感情込めて言って。
Yeah, come on.
正気に戻ってんじゃねえか。
本当にバジリスクの卵なの？鶏の卵と全然違うけど。
蛇の卵はこんなもんだよ。
Ah.
尻尾だけでしょ？体と頭は鶏じゃん。
いや、尻尾が鶏なんだ。
Huh.
この一本だけ色合いが違う。卵で閉じてふっくらとさせたら完成じゃ。
Nice.
鶏卵よりだいぶ黄色が濃いな。
こ
Yeah.
っちが我々の取ったマンドレーク、こっちはエルフの娘が取っ
Wait, well, now it tastes which one's better.
なんて悪趣味。
まあま
But that one's better, I bet.
マルシルの方が渋みがなくてまろやかな味してる。
あ、美味しい。
英語言うマルシル。お前の知識と本は素晴らしい。
料理本じゃないからこれ。
これはほんのささやかな例だ。一番美味しいところを食べなさい。
Yeah, the one person who absolutely does not want love.
喧嘩してくれ。
Anything?
ここだ。
Wow, alright. Well done, dude.
今何が起こった？
チルチャックは罠発見や鍵開けの専門家なんだ。
言っとくけど、この先罠だらけだからこっちが指示するまで動くなよ。
Taking the charge, I like
俺が
it.
最も嫌いなのは仕事を他人に邪魔されることだ。
Respect. Listen, I don't know how he's hearing it and detecting it, but
こことここのタイルは
brother seems like he knows what he's doing.
何やってんだ。俺の許可したところだけ歩けって言っただろ。
Did you not just watch her jump over it? I saw her jump over it.
詳しかん。
言ってる場合
At first, it just
あ
walked.
るんだよ。適当なことされると。罠ってのは連動するのやら影響し合うの
Like the guy who doesn't like complicated things kills monsters to be able to eat, you know?
やるの。あんたは俺の言う通りに動けばいいんだ。
One step at a time.
なんという火力。なるほ
And he's the one who evades it every time, which is great.
ど。丸焼き。いやー違うな。
Wait, that's a genius
唐揚
idea.
げ。
Oh shit.
かき揚げ。今日の昼食はふっくらにしよう。
I have decided our lunch.
油の資格とやらはどこにある？
絶対食用じゃない。
ハーフフッ
But it will be used
お前
for.
は油の専門家ではあるまい。
子供ではないです。
植物油は最も安易で供給が多い。ともかく現物が見たい。
Show me the.
食用油でなければ諦めよ
Fine.
分かったよ。その代わり今後罠のそばでは絶対俺の指示に従うこと。この条件を守
That's a
って
tough
もらえない
one.
なら協力はしない。
う。誓おう。必要とあらば手伝いもする。
それはいらん。いい
He told you to stay out the way. You're not gonna listen to your promise here. Yeah.
以上や鍵開け。マルシルは魔法。俺もあんたの調理方法に口を出したりしない。だから
Yeah, because his are
あんたも俺の仕
perfect.
事には一切関わらないでくれ。開いたよ。
おう。油はどうやったら取り出せる？
そこまでは知らん。ここが噴出口になってて、
Mentioned such
こ
a
の引き金
goof.
が引かれると油が出るんだけど、勢いが。
ではわしが鍋を構える。お前が引き金を引け。
Trigger whatever.
だよ。多分煮え湯だぜこれ。
案ずる。
It's perfect.
案ずるわ。知らねえ。
This is my shield.
言わんこっちゃない。大丈夫か戦士。手指入ってる。
Doesn't even feel it. Perfect. Carry the whole thing without spilling anything.
味オリーブオイルだなこりゃ。
嘘だろ。
を切るのに先ほど落ちてきた刃の罠を使えないか。
Perfect. Make use of
同じ
everything.
場所に落ちてくるとは限らんぞ。
Do not.
お前に任せよう。罠の扱い方はわしにはわからんからな。
Yeah.
なんで俺がそんなこと。
料理はわしの領分なのだから指示に従ってもらおう。次はこの油を先ほどの火罠で熱してくれ。どうして早くせんか。
You could jump over all that shit with that thing, dude.
手足を先に分断するといい。絡まったのをほぐせば手でもげる。
Good thing I don't got its fucking head still, bro. The thing would be screaming.
ダマにならぬよう混ぜたらマンドレークを衣の中へ。火の具合はどうだ。
どうだも何も。罠の火力調整なんて初めてだよ。
最程度に上がったらひっくり返す。いいな。
わかった。
I just love how Bird did not listen to him in the slightest, and then now he's forcing him to listen to him and do all this stuff.
怖いのか。焦げた。
Didn't
だ
listen.
調子は。
全然ダメ。変わってくれ。
火の罠はお前の領分。
火力はともかく揚げ加減は料理の領分だろ。火が弱いとべちゃべちゃになるし、強すぎるとあっという間に焦げる。
ならば罠の領分ではないな。そろそろではないか。
Nice.
いい色にできた。
完成じゃ。
いない時に真似しようとすんなよ。間違いなく死ぬから。
Ain't die yet.
お前の罠の扱いは真似できぬ技術だ。本当に素晴らしい。
There you
この
go.
先お前たちと別れる時、もう一人ではあれを扱えないと思うと残念だ。
罠のこと教えてやるよ。
Wow.
いいのか。
あんまり気は進まないけど。
I would be too.
まあ、戦士も料理のやり方を教え
He
てくれ
did
た
do
し。
that.
肉の代わりにパンはなれない。パンの代わりも肉にはできない。が、一緒になればより美味しい。
Mm-hmm. Compliment.
人も飯も変わらないのだ。ダンジョン飯。
I think the end lesson that they kind of try and hit you with, in a way, becoming reliant on others, or not reliant, but using the combination of, you know, one thing kind of needing the other and complementing the other in some sort of way, not having the skills or not having the same just makeup in a way, right, of the other thing, using chicken as like an example compared to bread, right, and things are being good together, but they're not the same. They each do specific things very good differently, but when they are together, they're a really excellent thing, you know, making up for the loss of what the other one doesn't end up having and filling in those holes and actually combining them and creating something better, which is essentially, I guess, like the core of a lot of these stories, in a way, the core of finding parties and groups of people that you're trying to end up working with and going on these adventures and doing these things. You're trying to find those people who can fill in those holes and do those things that you can't, right? Who are better than you at these other things that you can't and can be more useful in these situations, more knowledgeable or whatever the situation is. And we find that perfectly with the makeup of our kind of group here and how different everybody kind of is, but how at the same exact time, whether personalities or abilities and all that stuff is different, we all have specific things that we can really dial in on and be useful for. And we all have moments and situations that we're going to be more useful than others, and we're going to have to rely on each other. And when we work as a combination together, things are going to turn out probably well. While there's always room to fuck around and not make them well, right? But you're going to assume that they're going to end up having them really, really well. And I think that's pretty cool to bring so much focus on that, especially in this episode when you have a character like Marcel, who's like kind of all over the place in the way, right? She wants to be useful. She wants to prove herself that she can be, you know, important to these people, and she wants to be kind of needed in a way and wants to be kind of asked to do these things and be involved, but lacks so many abilities and so many different things while we're going on these adventures that it causes her to kind of just not be, and it kind of puts her down, but she wants to spring into action and, you know, still go out of her way and do these things. But as Laios kind of tells her at some point, hey, you do have a role. It's just not right now that you're going to end up coming in and being useful. We're going to need somebody like Senshi to kind of give us his knowledge and whatever it is, and I can be used as ways to kind of kill and capture and do all these things. So can he, whereas you maybe not as much, and you're just going to kind of be there while we're on the surface doing these things. But as we travel deeper and we're going on this adventure more and more, and we're getting closer to this dragon or within the fight or whatever these other things that we're going to encounter, or we're going to need you, and you're going to be able to do those things a lot more effectively and useful than I can. And I think that's a great way of him kind of just presenting it to her, to allow her to kind of feel content with the idea that she isn't capable of doing everything, or isn't going to be as used, or maybe isn't as knowledgeable when it comes to these certain things, but she is in lots of other situations. And we get the exact same situation later down the line where our other two get to see each other like working together extremely well. But when they weren't, and you know, they weren't listening to each other, and we're just stepping on things when we're told not to, you know, and kind of getting in the way of things, or we're trying to take over and learn how to actually cook when this other one doesn't, right? Like we have big issues there because we're trying to do things that we are not as capable as others, and we can constantly learn and evolve and get better at these things to become useful in those exact situations. But when we're in a situation where it's, you know, matter of life or death basically at the end and you have to be a little bit more careful, you don't necessarily have the time to learn as much, and you have to kind of use those other people and complement each other's skill sets and be able to kind of continue on this adventure and make things go very well. I would say I'll say I enjoyed this episode a lot more than the first one. We don't narratively drive things forward too much really at all here, but we do a good job at kind of fleshing out the world and some other things, and we also do a good job at kind of building more towards the characters and their interactions, and just the chemistry and stuff that they're going to kind of have together, which I think did a really good job and sold me a lot more on how they're going to kind of work together and be, which is more of what I suspected. I would just have to get a little bit more used to them and their dynamics and stuff before I was extremely sold on it. The comedy within it still hit or miss on some parts for me. A lot of the Marcel stuff at the beginning, she's going to be, I think, a very hit or miss character for me, unfortunately. It's just a lot of the humor that they use with her typically doesn't hit too well for me. While we did have some good moments and some moments I thought were pretty funny, we do have some where I'm just like not too thrilled by them, but we're gonna kind of just have to keep going with her, and then who knows, maybe I'll grow to continuously like her more and more. I mean, there's a big gap from how much I liked your last episode to this one, so if we continue on a trend there, I might just end up starting to find everything that she's involved in funny. We don't end up knowing, but we're gonna have to continue down that path until we can end up getting to that point. But I think a lot of the other stuff just, it was a little bit more solid this episode. It felt a little bit more focused. We get the OP introduction of a lot of characters and things, and while everybody else is big in these moments and, you know, others are small, I don't know what the symbolism and the meanings and the stuff they're trying to kind of convey here are, nor do I really have any interest in kind of looking into them, if I'm being honest, and we're just going to kind of leave it at that. Second time through the song, gotta say, not too overly impressed or interested in it, but, you know, music's, you know, up to everybody, likes different things, so it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. It's not the worst song I've ever heard. I'm not going to skip it each week because I don't want to hear it or anything, you know. We open sequence where Marcel gets to see this dream that she's kind of in due to, I guess, her smelling the food that is kind of being cooked by this other group. She ends up thinking that she's having this moment in her dream where she unfortunately has to see her favorite foods, which actually aren't her favorite foods and are all the monsters and things from the dungeon that of course are going to absolutely frighten her. They do good jobs with giving her lots of different faces and kind of throwing her around a bunch, which I think is pretty cool. Similar to my feelings, I guess, with her as a character, her the comedy and stuff that they kind of throw in with her. Some of them are good, some of them aren't as much, but for the most part they are pretty fun, and I have no issue kind of with those. I love Senshin just kind of being thrown in here and being the person who kind of explains like everything, and he has these dialogue moments, especially when he's cooking things and like fully, you know, just explaining things. It's not really doing too much for us, like, or helping us, because as people we're not going to learn too much because we're never going to use like a lot of these different ingredients and stuff, right? But at the same time, it's just fun little moments that we kind of get with him. You get to see his him being overjoyed by the experience and the situation he's in, which I think is really, really sweet. We get introduced to our enemy here that we're gonna end up fighting. have chicken, have snake, which is gonna be, it's pretty fun. And I like the idea here where we just kind of bring up, you've always been fascinated by things that are just take like bits and pieces of all these different parts, but instead when you end up having something that just complements each other like very nicely in the situation, where you get half and half of something, it works out extremely well, actually, and they complement each other so much better than something else like this can. And it's a similar situation to like when you have like, I don't know, like chain restaurants and things like that, right? They usually have like massive menus that cover a variety of foods and all those things, where then typically the things that you're going to get are going to be on more of the average side, right? Nothing's going to be too crazy good. It's usually not that bad, but sometimes they can be. But then when you go to a place that's very focused on something, right, or maybe just focused on like one or two different like specific things, and they do a good job at kind of complementing each other really well, and they can kind of narrow in, and because so much focus is placed directly on that, and it makes it a little bit better. That's the closest thing I can really think of in the present moment, but it's a similar situation to that. And once again, the constant theme of the episode being shown a little bit more. I like the eggs being from the snake and just be looking like that. I wonder if actual, let me look it up. I actually don't know. Do snake eggs actually look like that? Yeah, a little bit. They look a little harder in these pictures, but I guess I can't really, I wouldn't actually know. No, they just kind of look like normal eggs. Some of them are a little bit longer. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. We end up finding Buddy here, who's like on the verge of fucking death. And we have to end up going out of our way and saving him. Marcel gets kind of fucked up by this. I love Laos here and just the way he's acting. It's so stupid, but I absolutely love it. I think it's really fun. Using the blind spots of the monster that we're fighting here and being able to kind of go over and switch sides at this moment and take out each of the head from the back in the situation, because they're not able to see and they can only kind of use one and are blind in the other areas, works really well, and it's really, really sick. And I think that that's really cool. Also, the joke that they throw at us later on about the tail ending up being the chicken is so stupid. But I absolutely love roasting it on the axe. Fantastic. And then we end up feeding Bro and he gets so, you know, just healed instantly by it, of course, which is a great moment for us to end up having as we adventure a little bit further on. I like the need for vegetables, right? The need for a balanced diet and needing to find these things. Something I never really thought about, that they were going to run into a problem like that. So whether they have to kind of get a bunch of things and bring it with them along on the journeys, it's going to be a lot harder, especially in caves and stuff, to find these. So it makes plenty of sense that we have to bring attention to that at some point. Especially, I mean, I guess it doesn't, because usually adventurers and stuff are so like, oh, I'm gonna have my beer and meat and stuff, and that's all they really need. But I actually like the focus of that a lot more. And then we have her just going on a tangent here ways that she can be useful, ways that she can do things, bringing up the story about the dog and everything. It's so stupid, and her methods, but whatever, it works. I like the screaming as well, and everybody just constantly like asking if that was her or asking where she is, like in the moments, assuming that it is her when it actually isn't. Determination comes in. We can no longer use the dog, so we have to go out of our way and find a new strategy and a way to actually accomplish this. So we end up tying it up on a bat here, and we're able to use the bat to pull it out. Unfortunately, the bats are fucking huge and terrifying and absolutely destroy her. This is my favorite moment of her, right? This is something that I think is fantastic. Just the way that the voice actress kind of slurs everything that she's actually saying, and she seems completely out of it, and the way that they kind of draw her and her eyes, that literal face, like when you've seen some shit, right? Actually seems like she's actually been through a lot of stuff there in that moment. And even here, like when you draw her, it's fantastic. But at the end of the day, she just wants to be useful. Of course you want to be. You don't want to be that person who's just kind of sitting around and not doing anything and not being help for anybody else, right? And you want them to actually be able to rely on you in moments. And it's one of those things where we just kind of seek the approval in a way of other people constantly, which is just a natural thing that a lot of people do. It's one of those things where you do feel better when you do things for other people rather than doing them for yourself. And it's one of those that just really apply to her, I would say. And it's fun though, because we do get to develop her a little bit more and get to see her as a character and a person, and actually really understand her a bit more. We end up making the food, which turns out really, really well, which I actually think was fun for us to be able to see with the darker egg and everything. We go further in and we have to step over traps and avoid a bunch of things here. But of course, Senshin does not listen at all or does not care. I like how they make it very clear in the moment too, and you get to see Marcel kind of jump over it, but you don't get to see like him, he just like directly steps on it, which is a very apparent thing. But I also like how in every single one of these moments, all the traps and things that he sets off are like directly lined up with Chilchuk here, and it's like just in his way and bothering or causing harm to him and possibly killing him, which I think is great. Also just Senshin's like lack of fucking care in these moments and coming face to face with all of this stuff and using something that's like such a bad and like scary situation for everybody else as like an ability or a way and an opening for him to kind of of just start making things and using this all to his advantage, which I think is really, really cool. We go a bit further and we end up getting some food and frying some stuff, some things, and we never really expected that we were going to be able to have as we kind of go further along into these dungeons, which ends up working out pretty well. I like us trying to cook here as well, and understanding that it is a lot harder and that we can't actually just do the same thing that everybody else can, but at the same time we can also kind of figure it out over time. But relying on the others and using those compliments consistently, you know, and it allows him in this moment too to be a little bit more grateful for, while he's kind of just yelling at him for having like so much energy when it comes to these moments, allows him to be a little bit more grateful for somebody who is actually very capable of what he is doing, and for actually feeding them and kind of keeping them healthy in like these moments. And I don't know, it just allows you into a peek into their world a little bit more and into their head maybe, which allows you to kind of appreciate them and appreciate the abilities that the other one kind of has. I like the art that they have a lot here at the end, where we kind of flash through. I don't know, it's just really pleasing to look at. It's nothing too crazy. The ending song's pretty cool. I liked it, but that will be all from me. Once again, like this a lot more, I think, than the first one. Still some room to grow and things that I kind of would like to see more out of the series itself, but we are still very early, I would say, so it doesn't need to immediately hook me. And it's a very weak season so far, in my opinion, from the things that I've kind of gone into here. I've literally had, I think, 2 or 3 different series where I've tried doing an episode 1 and I just did not enjoy the episode that much, and I just kind of scrapped it and didn't upload a video as a result. All that kind of goes well for the series, because it means I'll probably continue onward as long as we keep getting episodes like this that make me not angry in any sort of way. And also, everybody seemed to kind of enjoy it last week, so we're going to keep going as long as people are showing an interest in it, and as long as it's kind of keeping me content. Nothing really to complain about there. If you liked it all, hit the like and subscribe to me lots. Feel free to check out the other videos and channel. Leave me comments with this better series. I'll be back for the 3rd one next week. Have a good one. Peace.